Hi, Wes Hansen, President and CEO of Thunder Gold Corp. I'm back to go into greater detail on the results we disclosed in our press release, uh, summarizing our Phase 2 drill program at our Tower Mountain property. Tower Mountain, of course, is located less than 50 kilometers from Thunder Bay, right immediately adjacent to the Trans-Canada Highway. I'm going to look at the P target, which sits in this area. That's along the eastern margin of the Tower Mountain Intrusive Complex, which are these pink and purple colors here. The dashed red lines basically represent the corresponding mag high that perfectly defines that intrusive body. So we'll zoom in on details. This is the soil underlay that we're looking at here. This is one of the reasons we were attracted to the target. We're going to turn off the drill holes, take a look at the soil underlay. You've got about a 500-600 meter long golden soil anomaly that we identified in 2024. We'll pop that background off and take a look. We'll zoom in and take a closer look at some of the rock geochem samples. Basically, you can see grades of 2, 5, 3.7 grams and higher. That was a very exciting target that was largely undrilled. There was a historical hole, but it missed underneath the plunging ore body. And I'll show you what that means in a moment. But we'll turn on in 2024, late 2024, we drilled a series of about a dozen holes at the P target. Some excellent results, as you can tell by the purples and the reds, which are basically higher than 1 gram per ton on average. So we defined the zone, we identified a plunging system to the southeast, and if we flip the soil geochemistry back on, that takes us directly towards this golden soil, a strong golden soil anomaly over here about 400 meters away from the original location of the drilling. So we're chasing that to the southeast. We know that plunges to the southeast, but good geology requires us to drill under it in a down dip direction. We did that in the first quarter of 2025. The results were disappointing, but not surprising. Basically, the results indicated that the target horizon continues at depth, but it's much weaker in terms of the gold content. It only averages between 0.1 to 0.3 grams per ton on average. And that's something that we see elsewhere in the deposit, where you have these sort of low-grade zones that disrupt the higher grade system. It could be that these things are a stack system of repetitive veins or breccia zones, or they're hot spots and cold spots based on the degree of brecciation that allowed the original fluids to flow through the system. More work is required to figure that out, but that's not our purview with this video. We're here to summarize the very positive results that we picked up with our phase 2 drilling. So basically, during the winter program, the Q1 2025 program, we are unable to drill the down plunge extent of the P target. And the reason why, it was just simply unsafe to do so. So we deferred that to the second program, our phase 2 program, which we were able to do this summer. And that allowed us to access it safely and complete offensive holes 100 meters away from our previous limit of drilling. And happy to report that basically all 4 holes hit mineralization. Hole 170 intersected 56.5 meters at 0.83 grams per ton, and 171, 34.5 meters at 0.71. 172 intersected 42 meters of 0.39, and 173 intersected a couple of zones, 25 meters at 0.47, and then there's about a 7 meter gap and a further 15 meters at 0.33 grams per ton. So again, the typical broad intervals of generally consistent grade, kind of in that 0.8 to 1.2 gram per ton range. We think that we're at the bottom of that plunging system, and the reason I'll show you why we think that in a second. We're going to come back to this figure, and I'm going to have to jockey some things around to demonstrate what it is that I want to show you. But basically, that system is plunging to the southeast, shown by this red line. So we're going to look at that red line. We're going to look at a longitudinal section. So we're looking in that northeast direction towards towards the upper right hand portion of the page. We're going to flip everything over, take a close look at things, turn some things on, turn some things off, and take a view looking to the east. And gotta zoom in here. So here's the P target. There's that bright red line on our drill spacing, and you can see the grades. These are the drill holes. There's no limit on this, but we're looking at the center of the zone in a minute. But you can see those very impressive grades on that last step out. That's 100 meters away from our previous limit of drilling. You can see where these holes are coming in under. And to clarify the picture somewhat, we're going to turn off the drill holes, and that's not immediately apparent, but we'll represent the drill holes as a series of points with the grades associated with those points. And we'll flip on the topographic surface so it hopefully makes a little more sense. And you can see this beautiful plunging keel, the center line that we targeted with our drill programs, and there's our latest 3 drill holes right there. And you can see the average grades that we're talking about. Actually, there's a little bit of an overprint, so I'm going to have to move those a bit, just give it a little clarity. Move those 5 units away. Actually, you're going to move them farther than that. 10 units away. And you can see the average grades that match the average grades that I summarized for you on the table. But zoom back out. You can see all these 0.1 and 0.3 gram hits. We took a few flyers drilling deeper to see probing what we got. But, you know, you got to fill in and you have to do the proper amount of drilling to really understand what these systems are doing. But I think the key takeaway here is that this plunging system continues to the southeast. There's 29 holes completed to date at the P target. Those holes demonstrate exactly, and I do mean exactly, the same statistical distribution as the 41,000 meters of historical drilling done on the western contact zone. Here on the left-hand graph is the weight average grade by cutoff bin, and by cutoff bin you're looking at increments of 0.1 grams per ton. So the lowest one is just slightly greater than 0.1 grams per ton, greater than 0.2, greater than 0.3, and the average grades, the P target is shown on the gold column. So at 0.1, the average grade is 0.73 grams per ton versus the western contact data, which is 0.57 grams per ton, if that makes sense. And the cutoff that we're most interested in is this greater than 0.3 grams per ton, which is the economic cutoff grade at most major large-scale, large tonnage open pit mines operating in the world today. At that cutoff grade, the average grade of the P target drilling is 1.37, and remember that's about 1,621 samples versus slightly north of 27,662 samples from the western contact zone. At that same cutoff grade, averaged 1.3 grams per ton. You know, essentially the numbers are duplicated, and we see the same on the graph at the right, which is the population of the sample data set at above those cutoff grades. So in other words, at a 0.1 cutoff grade, 45% of the samples from the P zone averaged greater than 0.1 grams per ton, and almost 52% from the western contact. But as the cutoff grade increases, you see those two distributions falling in line. And at that critical 0.3 cutoff grade juncture, 21% of the P target results are greater than 0.3 grams per ton. That includes those disappointing holes that were drilled at depth, and 18.3% of the main sample population along the western contact are above a cutoff grade of 0.3 grams per ton. So, you know, very good correlation in terms of the statistical averages between the two data sets. This is a very compelling target. We don't know what's going to happen. I'm glad to say that we're finally past the slope of the hill, the problem generated by topography that was giving us some challenges in drill targeting, and we're moving into a flatter area. And what the benefit of that has is this distance perpendicular to the plunge line. That distance is increasing to the southeast, so we're adding more ounces even more rapidly than we already have at this target. thank you for having a listen, and hopefully we'll talk to you again real soon. Thank you for your time.